5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglash for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Okay, look at this. I still got my tree up, yes, because we're still in the 12 days of Christmas, in case you don't know. But anyway, we'll go on from there. Let's see what we're going to do first. I promised a smashing show for you, so stick with me. I'll go really fast in the beginning, silly stuff. Okay, first, Budweiser starts a club for drinkers who want sober January. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. But it ties into the next article. Okay, this is from MSN.com, okay, which I think means mainstream media, MSN, or Microsoft News or something, but it basically mainstream. And it's about becoming an entrepreneur. It's got some pretty good tips in here. And it says, what defines an entrepreneur is they're willing to take on the risk of earning money the hard way, I'll say, instead of opting for the more traditional route of a guaranteed paycheck by working for others. Now, I should note that there's no guarantees in life. So if you think that your company is doing exceptionally well in spite of everything, in fact, better than you could even imagine, that makes them a target for acquisition, which can also get rid of you. Just saying. I'm not trying to scare you. I just want you to know that the only thing worse than a failing company is a booming company. Because then they get bought and then they fire mostly the top management because there's so much duplication. Okay, so that's what an entrepreneur is. The road to entrepreneurship is research, planning, and again, you can get these articles. It's a good article if you're thinking about entrepreneurship. Structure, organize, hire, test. I would say don't hire yet. Test first and market. And the testing and market go together more than you might know. We used to do what's called a dry test, and that means that we would test market something that we didn't have to see what the market would bear. I think they're strictly illegal now. Check with your local laws. They're not entirely illegal. I know the book publishers still do it. You know, they put out an offer for a book, and then they decide if they're going to write it or not, or how many pages it's going to be based on the response they get. You know, allow 6 to 8 weeks for delivery. I mean, who needs 6 to 8 weeks for delivery anymore? That was so that we could write the book. Anyway. But the reason I wanted to talk about this article is because, look at this, for market. One of the most critical ways to promote business success is to persuade your target market that they want what you have to offer. I'd say that's dramatically false. That's a little bit like trying to pitch mail when everybody wants digital. It's swimming upstream. You're better off finding something people do need and doing it a little better, or doing it a little differently, or making it easier to buy, or somehow improving on it. That's a much easier way to run a business. As the AMA says, find a need and fill it. Don't try to create a need. That's a difficult thing. It's best if you're like an Apple, you know, when you come out with the MP3 player or the smartphone or the tablet or something. But anyway, what I thought was great was it said, while social media and blogging will reach some potential customers, you likely need to add offline tactics like direct mail. MSN, direct mail. Now, and then there's the rest of the article. Okay, now you've heard me talk about mail. When I started a couple of years ago doing this daily, I couldn't find enough mail articles to even bother with. So I just gave up. I quit looking for mail, and it was only about in the last year or so, last few months, that I decided to regenerate that daily looking for mail. For a while I ran it weekly, and it got so big because there was so much mention of mail that I now I look daily. And I had too many on Friday, so I spilled this over, or on Thursday, so I spilled this over to today. There's probably 3 or 4 out there right now. And so mail is getting to be a new thing. Okay, I've lectured, and MSN, not MSN, MBA students came up afterwards and said, not only did we not have one course on mail, we didn't have one lecture on mail in our entire undergrad and grad marketing careers or training. So that's changing. So if you don't know anything about mail, you might want to stick around. You might want to watch this show, because I don't think there's anyone else on earth doing daily mail news. Today I want to go a little beyond that, because if all you do is think, I'm going to try mail, you've missed the entire point that I've been trying to make. And so today we're going to talk about mail, or direct mail, or direct marketing. That's in the title. And here we go. The future of marketing. Now, and I can tell you with 100% accuracy, I can tell you where marketing is going absolutely for sure. We're going to keep talking about data, because data is the new bacon. Where we're going to go is where we've been. Ever since I got involved in marketing, really in the 70s, it's been one buzzword after another. Funnel and lifetime. You've heard all of these things. So what I can tell you is there's going to be new marketing buzzwords. I can't tell you what. That is the future of marketing. Okay, now how do we sort that out? Well, the answer is testing. Okay, that is not a buzzword. That isn't even anything that anyone likes. No one likes testing. I asked Namoa if I could talk on testing, because I didn't think people were doing much with it. And they said, oh, all of our clients, all of our people that we know do lots and lots of testing. So I interviewed some of the board members and some of the leading, mostly mailers. And the best one was this first one. Holdouts reduce sales and profits. If your catalog, your mailer is doing 900% ROI, you don't want to mail less of them, even to test it. But all the best mailers do it. Other people said, these are direct quotes, it's complicated to test across channels. As retailers, we don't have testing culture. We test and retest the list, but not the big stuff. We measure clicks, persistence, source, but do we really test? No. And what they meant, it wasn't valid. Well, direct marketing is testing. There's just no other way about it. I used to have coffee with Bob Stone. I used to stop at his house on the way home from downtown Chicago. And I said, Bob, why'd you leave that out of the most famous direct marketing definition? When I asked the Namoa board, they all said generating a measurable response was all about what direct marketing was. Generating a measurable response. Well, measurable doesn't even mean you're measuring it, much less you're causing, you're designing a well-crafted test, isolating causal variables. So anyway, testing isolates key causes. Testing takes charge of the data. It generates the kind of data that can actually guide you into the future. All data is historical, and people, again, lose sight of this. There's always a knowledge gap between the past and the future. There's never enough data to make a decision, because you never have a guarantee that tomorrow will be like yesterday. Okay? So this is the data side. It's in the past, it's static, it's historical, it's accidental mostly because you haven't set up the test properly, and it requires processing lots and lots of data that you may get wrong and was probably not created for the purposes you're trying to squeeze out of it. Okay? And so all this does is give you observation. It's not going to give you strategy, because you have to guess the future. Now, to the extent that this is crafted well, to the extent that this isolates causal variables and you see the impact, you say, we turn this knob advertising-wise and this happens. We put $1 in the box and out jump $9 more. That's the kind of thing your CEO wants to know. Okay? And to get to that, it's in the future, it's dynamic, it's hypothetical, it's strategic, and it's where marketing has to live, because we're always planning the next campaign that isn't really based on the past, only to some extent. And so this is the hypothesis phase of the scientific method. If you remember, it starts with observation and then hypothesis. And what's the next step? The next step is experimentation. And then you get to explanation. And if you do it, iterate, a lot of times you get to theory. And theory is really what gets us to the application of the future. Until you get to theory, you have no application to the future. Now, direct mail, which I've been talking about, is great because it's easy for A-B splits. Take every other name, you're going to get a pretty good random sample. It evaluates behavior because we know you got it, we know a decision maker looked at it, and we know that you'd made a decision, yes or no, in the trash or buy, okay? And so we understand, and the buying is the elevation of behavior. We try to sell you something. Most direct mail, we try to sell you something. It's far easier actually to try to sell something in mail than it is to do a two-step and make that pay. It also cuts the clutter because your mailbox is basically empty. Neuroscience says you have 10 times more touch receptors in your head than you have sight receptors in your head. Okay? And all of this means that we have 100% engagement if we compare to the way that the digital people can look at things. When you hear marketing say, well, what if we, or what should we, or I wonder, big data won't save you. And it won't fix the database you already have. You need to test to answer those key questions. Testing isolates and takes charge of the data. Testing with costly transactions, elevating behavior, drives strategy. So direct marketing is the key to fixing big data and making money with data. But here's the trouble. I mentioned to Elena Neely that I'd probably mention her over the weekend. So the USPS hired me to teach mail to their newly hired direct mail salespeople. And so we came up with a program where the salespeople would identify big companies that they were calling on that were spending a lot on advertising but not doing mail. And we got tests. We got tests from Anheuser-Busch, Kaiser Permanente, Circuit City, Panasonic, and a host of others, just a bunch. And I would then look at their marketing a little. It wasn't really in depth. It was just how could mail apply here? And one of the companies we looked at was Oakley, and Oakley decided to try some mail. So I happened to be out in California, and Elena was calling on the Oakley company, and so we got a chance to visit the Oakley company. When you drive up the Jolly Roger, the pirate flag was flying overhead, and the corporate headquarters was patterned after the movie Brazil, which is a Monty Python movie. But anyway, I looked at the mailing piece and I said, there's no response device. And they said, yeah, here, look, there's an 800 number hidden in the body copy. We had people selling mail, and we should have been selling direct marketing. And that's the danger here. You can watch me every day. A lot of printers watch me. A lot of USPS people watch me. And we talk mail, and everybody gets excited and gives me a thumbs up or a heart or something. And what they don't realize is the worst thing you can do is sell mail, because you're selling it to people who've never had even one lecture on mail. They don't know how to do it. And, in a culture of digital media where you can't measure, that's fine. But in a culture or when we're selling the idea that you can measure and then they do it badly, what you've got is an absolute proof that mail doesn't do anything unless you know what you're doing. And so what we're really selling is a culture of knowledge. We're selling a culture that will tell you what is working in your marketing. It matters how you do it. And if all you do is say, let's try mail once, if that's what you're selling, danger is to sell mail. That's a big danger. You cannot sell mail. You have to sell direct marketing. Well, what if you don't know that much about direct marketing? I mean, heck, it's been 20 years since anybody talked about mail. Now I'm trying to elevate you to another level. Well, that's what the WDMA is for. Go to WDMA.org. We've got a WDMA LinkedIn group that I'm actually posting in pretty often now. We've got an on-site training simulation. We developed it with Land's End. You have a catalog and you can't hire people that have catalog background? Let's do some training. We have a catalog simulation. It's up and running. It's ready to go. You pick products, you pick lists. It'll teach you about company valuation. It'll teach you about lifetime value. It'll teach you about testing. Fantastic. It was the number 1 rated content in Bob Stone's direct marketing certification. It was the number 1. Just think about that. Including beating Bob Stone. Okay? We're getting into DM coaching, where we help your sales team identify prospects, and we help them know what to say. And I think that's pretty exciting. And Matthew Parker from the UK is helping us with that. So don't sell mail. Don't sell mail. Sell direct marketing. Direct mail is the starting point. Direct marketing is where you actually learn what's going on, and it's a process. It's a laboratory. Every major advertiser should have a direct marketing laboratory. That's what I'm selling. Join the WDMA. Support our efforts. Come along with us. Give us your case studies. Let's do it together. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart.